very, very freely. In the case of princess, this green one and the blue one, they hitch together because there was an infection. There is an infection inside the chest that extended all the way there and made them to join hitch together. So this accounted for the pain she was having. All right. So when she's breathing, there's tension that is being exerted on those fibro bands. You try to breathe out, it's trying to hold the thing down, all right? So you will feel pain, you will feel a lot of pain with this sort of condition, okay? Okay, so we remove everything from inside the lung. Again, these are the lung, all right? So when you check in this cavity, this is the left side and this is the right side. The left and the right, which one is shining more than the other one? Huh? Yeah, so this side is shining, right? That's the left side. So this side is shining. That's how it should be. It should be shining. So it should be shining because it's supposed to be transparent. But you see this right side, it's not shining. It's so dull. You can't even see it. All right? When you also look very, very closely, you see some black lines under here. Can you appreciate that? Huh? Can you appreciate that? Okay, so those black lines are the arteries. They are the intercostal arteries. All right, so these are blood vessels. Because the left side is not bad enough like the right, we are able to see behind it and see the blood vessels that are there. On the right side, we cannot see it. So the same thing, this is the breastbone. All right, we remove it. Again, this is the right side because we just flip it open. All right, you are looking at it from the back. So this is the right side and this is the left side. So you will realize that this side is dull and this side is round. It's a little bit light. So we took out the whole lung, all right? So if you look at the lung here, there's a lung ridge. You see inside here, the whole place looks red, all right? So they are glossy. We check on that and there was no soul there, all right? So it means that when you see the place red like that, like we saw the floor there where princess was formed, it means that blood was passing. So the place becomes, a little bit red like that, all right? So that's why you see. And the lung, again, the two lungs were heavy, all right? So we call the lung. We call the lung. So when you look at this lung, there's a right lung. These two pictures are the same, all right? So you look at the right lung here, you look at the left, all right? So you see this whole thing here. It's not supposed to be there. Also, you see something here with like black things, and that black thing is there, all right? So this is a tubercle. It's a tubercle. It's an abnormal thing that's not supposed to be there. All right. So that is the problem that is causing problem, and it has spread all the way. You see the thing looking white like that. It has spread all the way in this lung. You see, even in the left lung, you see this little bit like fibrous stuff going across the lung. All right. So when we open it up again, we want you to see this very clearly. This is the stomach. This is the stomach. The stomach was distended. The stomach was looking big. This is the stomach here. You all see how it's big, right? There's a chest, right under the chest, the stomach is here, the one we put the arrow on. So this stomach was distended. When we open the stomach, this is what we find inside the stomach. A lot of clotted blood. A little over 2 liters of clotted blood inside our stomach. Alright. So the next question will be, this stomach that looking like this, is there soul inside the stomach that causes it to be so? Alright, so we open the stomach. Alright. So we realize that there's no soul in the stomach. All you see there is that red paint, all right, which shows that the blood was there in the stomach, but there's no soul. The mucosa and all those things are all okay. There's no soul in the stomach. So then we can justifiably conclude that the blood that was in the stomach was not from the stomach. It came from somewhere. And I think you will all agree with me. All right. So this is the kidney, all right. The both kidney, the size was good. But if you look at the kidney, you realize that this is the cortex and this is the medulla. So if you check, you see that this is a little bit dark, it's dark. And this place is looking pale. So there are pale cortexes and dark medulla, thereby leading to the accentuation of the corticomedullary differentiation. The cortex and the medulla, the differentiation is accentuated. Alright? So usually that will happen when people go into shock. When people go into shock, the shock gets, the kidney gets congested, and that is why you have that sort of thing happening. Okay? So again, there was caution about whether she was pregnant or not. We remove the uterus, that's the uterus. This is the vagina, excuse me for the expression. These are the two ovaries. Alright? The uterus is empty, the vagina is empty. We didn't find any trauma or whatsoever in the vagina. I mean, you can see it. All of you can see it. It's just pale. Alright? It's just pale. It shows that she lost a lot of blood. So, as I said, before we did this, we went ahead and did a CT scan. We went ahead and scanned the head, we scanned the neck. Well, maybe the leg got broken, the DCA, we scanned the neck, we scanned the entire chest, we scanned the entire stomach, the abdomen, the legs, we scanned everything. Everything was essentially okay, except for the lung, all right? Again, so you are looking at this patient in the anatomical position. This is the backbone here of the patient, all right? So the patient is lying down with the face, with the leg facing you, and this is the right side, this is the left side. So again, even before we open up, we could tell that there was something going on the right and the left side, but the right side was more affected. So you see these things, you know, these watches, that's the one we're saying, all right? Then you see this ground glass appearance. So this little black area, that is how the normal lung should be. This little thing at the apex, all right? But this one here, when they watch it something, it's a normal. And that's what we call ground glass appearance. And what we saw there, when we open up, that is what you are seeing here. It's worse on the right side than the left side. Again, this was done before Princess was even opened up. If you go to JFK, the records are there in the CT scan room. If you blow that up, her name is on our CT scan. You know, Princess Hotel, the CT scan is on. So we did ancillary studies, all right? We took a section of the lung, all right? We processed it in formalin. We dehydrated it, you know, we put wax inside, we poured it into very thin sheets so that we can be able to look at it under the microscope to see what is in the lung. Esteemed citizens and fellow citizens, we found so many things in that lung, and this is just one of them, all right? So in this lung you are seeing here, you see that there's massive hemorrhage. This thing you are seeing, these are all blood, all right? These are all blood. This one is blood, this one here. All right, these are all blood, these are all blood, these are all blood, inside the lung. So we can say that, you know, the blood that was in that place came from the lung because there's just so much blood, you know, inside the lung, maybe all one. And if you also, the other thing you want to know when you see this is was it there, is there something that had been going on, or is something that just happened acutely, all right? We can say that this happened acutely. It happened minutes before the police went on or before she died, because we did not find this thing we call the macrophages, all right? So people who are bleeding in their chest over a prolonged period of time, there are certain cells, we call the scavengers, they are the macrophages. They will come inside there and eat up the blood, and you will see them inside, they will be filled with blood. But when we check, you know, Princess, we didn't find any of those there. There were no macrophages. So this is an acute pulmonary hemorrhage. And we can also say that what it will occur from the arterial origin. When you look at your body, we have the arteries and we have the veins. The arteries carry blood away from the heart, and they are pumping under the pressure of the heart, all right? Usually when you have a cut involving the artery, the bleeding tends to be massive. If it is a vein, you know, there isn't too much pressure in the vein, all right? But because of the way the blood looks, we know that it's bright red. It's most likely an arterial bleed. Then we also took another section of the lung, all right? Additional studies, all right? Okay, so that first now, the second one is actually continuing to that. The same thing we did for Melvin, we did it for Princess also. We took the blood for toxicology. So we took blood, we took urine, we took liver tissue, we took some of that blood from the stomach, all right? We took kidney, and we took a little bit of urine, all right? We took it from a lab to a lab out of this country that has FDA approval, Federal Drug Authority approval. Because if you have to submit this to any port, it must have been done in a lab that has accreditation. So that is where that was done. And in the case of Princess, there was none of these, not abnormal stuff was found in her blood. There was nothing abnormal found inside her stomach. There was no poisoning, nothing common poisoning. There was no drug found inside, all right? So what you see here is a section of the right lung, all right? It shows hemorrhage, the blood I told you about, pericardial hemorrhage. So what you see here is what we call granuloma, all right? So you see this place is white, and they are surrounded by epithelial histiocytes, all right? Then what you see here is a single cell. They are giant cells, all right? They are Langerhans type giant cells, all right? All right? So usually when you see this, there are two things that will cause it, all right? Either TB, mycobacterial tuberculosis, or fungus, or other things, maybe foreign body or other things. So we wanted to know, even though most likely it will have been TB, we didn't start that we wanted to know who the culprit is. So we went further to check, all right? So if you look at this picture, this is the same picture I'll show you, but this one has gone through a special sealing, all right, to identify the microorganism whatsoever was causing that blood clot we saw. And if you check in this, you will see these walls, all right, these walls. These are all mycobacterial tuberculosis. These raw, they are TB. They are the one causing that. They are the one causing all of those blood clots. They are TB. All right. This is a section of the kidney. Again, you see that in this kidney, there's a tubule. The lining of the tubule is gone. All right. That's what we call tubular necrosis. So again, this is what acute glomerular nephritis. Acute tubular necrosis. So the scientific cause of death, all right, we think, all right, based on all what we have saw, and again, I'm going to reiterate that, if there's anybody listening in radio land, listening in UK, Ukraine, or whatsoever, if you doubt this finding, you are invited to take the remains of Princess, the lungs is still there, everything we use is still there. Take that body and re-autopsy it. If you find anything other than we found, maybe you should crucify us. That is the only time you can justify this, say that, you know, we are compromised, we are this, we are that, all right? So you can re-autopsy. But if you cannot do that, this we are presenting to you is evidence beyond that, all right? So she died from massive hemorrhagic shock. She lost so much blood that she went into shock and she collapsed, all right? And this one resulted from what? It resulted from massive hemorrhage, from a ruptured Rasmussen aneurysm. If you go back to the picture I showed you on the right side, there was that little clip with black thing inside with blood. Okay, that's an aneurysm. An aneurysm is a dilated vessel, all right? So when the vessel gets dilated, we call it an aneurysm. Sometimes a true aneurysm will have the full thickness of the wall, the intima, the muscularis, the serosa, or the adventitia. But other times it will just be a partial or incomplete aneurysm. So that aneurysm ruptured and it was artery, and because it was under the pressure of the heart was pumping. That is how the blood just came out so fast and overwhelmed her. All right. So based on all of what that we have said, we believe in our professional opinion that her cause of death, she died from natural causes.
That is the end of Princess' report. She died from natural causes as per the detailed autopsy report just presented by Dr. Benedict watching CCTV coming to you live.
Hello. Before we take questions and answers, I would like to call on the information minister, the spokesperson of the government, for additional information before we can take our questions and answers. Okay. So we'll take hello. After the question, then you can so just
there's something on the chat my colleague just reminded me of this. So I want to say it's on the screen.
Attention, please get attention.
It's on the screen, but I didn't read it. I just want to read it. So we say hemorrhagic shock from massive hemorrhage from Rasmussen aneurysm and erosion of the bronchial artery. And that one resulted from progressive secondary pulmonary TB. So we all know when people have TB, sometimes they cough blood. But in your own case, she didn't just cough blood. That TB ruptured into an aneurysm and she bled massively.
so just get the queue, ask a question, please, to this report. Ask your question relative to this report. So we will take those of you in the queue by the time you are done.
I would like to go to them because of the congestion. You wish you put your hand up. Okay, come in the queue.
Get in the queue, and then after those in the queue,
Only journalists will be allowed to ask questions. Only journalists. That's the outside organization. Only journalists in the press conference. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Mark Kula, and I work for the Daily Trader newspaper in Cuba. Yeah, as per the autopsy report, we observed that the speaker said both persons were lack of blood. So I want to know
Please say that again. Lack of what?
blood. Yeah, because they were pale and in the palm and other stuff. So I want to know that when someone died, maybe after a few hours, you can experience that naturally. And I want to observe.
Are you asking or you are concluding?
I'm asking whether that can happen naturally when someone dies. And then for the body of Melvin Togbah, we observed that the autopsy report, shows some bruising even on the body, not just the face alone. But then we did not go because we've gotten information all over the place. People have had problems, but then we only saw you showing little bruises from the face, but then the body was not showing entirely except the 610. So we want to know why.
So we take 3 questions.
so let's go fast questions. And then we.
Thank you. My name is Sekou Aminata Konen. I report for Strong FM and Strong TV. Specifically, my question goes to the Information Minister. As may be aware,
Did he address the pathologist report? Did he address the pathologist report?
in regards to those who
Did he address the pathologist report? Sorry, next person.
Please, thank you. 1 minute, thank you.
Sorry, next person.
Please stand. Please stand. Okay, go ahead. Minister says you go ahead.
Thank you. As may be aware, the founder of the late Princess Togbah denied approval of the government and announced pathologists who were assigned to do this autopsy report, stating that they both are clinical pathologists instead of forensic pathologists. Now we are here with this report. What is the government's standpoint towards that? Thank you.
Thank you. 1 for Minister Rainy.
Okay, sir. My name is Rudy Kiazulu from the Spoonie Group. I have 2 questions, and I want a clarity first on the first one about Melvin Togbah. Did you say he died of unnatural causes? Okay. So maybe you would just go a step further if you were to tell us what were those unnatural causes. And the second thing is concerning Princess Cooper. At the end of everything, it's like she died, according to you, from bleeding, over-bleeding, and then she recovered. But where her body was found, I don't know whether this question is for you, but where her body was found, and or what have you, did she, in that sense, was she hit or anything? Because where her body was found, we want to know whether the public want to know that. We want to know whether where her body was found, whether it is where what happened to her happened when she died. So we want to know those 2 things. The natural cause of Melvin Togbah's death. We want to know what was that a natural cause, because there are other factors. What was that a natural cause? And can you tell us where Princess' body was found? Whether it was necessary, it was possible that she might have coughed right there and then she dropped right there and died there. It wasn't possible. Did that happen?
Thank you.
The last 2 questions, then we'll go back to our pathologists to answer to the questions, and then we'll come back to the next 5.
Honorable Minister, please, if you would agree with me, can we ministry? My name is Maud Soma, Public Affairs Director, Ministry of Justice. I think we've had 2 meals. It's about time we ministry. Can we have the voice of a female assistant?
Please have my phone. Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Angel Malema Morris, and I report for Strong FM. So after listening and watching the full reports of the autopsy, my concern has to do with the norms
Please go ahead. Very low.
Okay, my name is Angel.
Just go ahead, please.
My name is Angel and I report for Strong TV. After watching and listening to the autopsy results, according to our pathologist here, the death is a natural one. So my concern has to do with the gifts that were given to them. And secondly, how do you expect the family members to accept such a autopsy that they did not even consent to and they were not present? And even currently at the press conference, no family member of Princess Togbah is not present.
Then last question for the last 5 group of people.
My name is Zizabala. I think more than that do justice.
Bosman, please ask a question.
Hello, please ask your question. Please ask your question. You have limited time. Please ask your question. Or else we ask you to receive them. Thank you. Repeat the question.
Okay,
Please listen to the pathologist.
I'm going to respond to the last question asked. And that. So that was the concern. That was concerning the presence of Princess family member and the acceptance for us to work. Now, we are in this country, and this country is governed by laws. If for any reason there is a suspect or suspicious death, it is the full responsibility of the government to investigate. And because it is their responsibility, by law, they don't need the approval of a family member or what, because that is more in court or crime against a state, which is suspected. A death of a citizen in this country, it is the government responsibility. So by law, they will go ahead and do whatever they're supposed to do to find out why their citizen died, which is what the government did. And afterward, the official release of the body will be turned over to the family, now that the government has satisfied and knows the cause of death of a citizen. And afterward, if the family have any qualms or so, they can bring their own pathologists to do whatever they can do and come up with a report. And I don't think there will be anything different from what we found, because it is a scientific process and the evidence are always reproducible. So that's for that particular question. And going forward, even at the autopsy, by law, it's only the coroner and 2 prominent persons who should attend. But because we are Nigerians and we understand what people go through, we have opened the autopsy to every individual who have the ability and can stand the sight of what we'll be doing. We incorporate everyone because we want to be open and free in that process. Thank you. And one more thing again, and I think I will just refer to the Minister of Health. The issue of tuberculosis is transmissible. So we must bring the public health issue into this by doing contact tracing, so that we find all possible contacts and screen them, or else we all will be liable to this infection.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, member of the press, we have been reporting on the Ministry of Justice whenever there is an autopsy to be performed. All the families who have interest in bringing their own pathologist, if they are not satisfied, that is to be provided by the government at their own and proper cost. But if they don't, the government will go ahead perform the autopsy, because it's a criminal offense, it's crime against the state, and they still have to find out the cause of death and prosecute the perpetrator of such crime. Further, more than that, Dr. Kuli, he has made it emphatically clear, and the council materials are there. If you have any qualms, if you have any reason to doubt his professional credibility, you can still bring a pathologist. If a pathologist can prove him wrong, we don't proceed from that point. But beyond that, that has been the standing order of the ministry. But if we want to perform that autopsy, call on you. If you have anyone, if they are not competent, by your own standard you set, bring yours at your own cost. The autopsy will be done. So that did not happen. We have no option but to allow the police and the staff to perform the autopsy. Thank you.
All right. I think my colleague Dr. Panther stated it all, and the minister Posey has just also crowned it. So I mean, it would never have been said any better. Again, we have to re-emphasize the release are still there. If someone wants to autopsy 10, 15, 20 times, you can come and autopsy. You know, the result is not going to be any different from what before. I can put my neck on the chopping board. So we're going to answer beginning with Mike. You said both persons had lack of blood, and you were asking whether someone died for long, whether they are no. The answer is no. The autopsy is a scientific process. Whether you are dead or not, the blood doesn't get swallowed up. The blood is not volatile. So you saw the picture there. I'll show you the video of the incident scene if I have to put the IG. All right. You still saw the blood there. I mean, people went there long after. So if that was gasoline, you were not going to see it. If it was maybe fuel, you would have seen a little bit of it. If it was jet fuel, so blood is not volatile. So the fact that someone is dead doesn't mean that their blood will evaporate. The blood will not evaporate. The blood will also be there. You also made mention about us not showing the rest of the body. If you are interested in seeing the rest of the body, come to me. All right, I will show it to you. Immediately after here, just go to my car, I will show it to you. But you know, this is a married man that died. Princess is, you know, a girl in her prime. I don't feel comfortable if there's nothing at that part of the body to help us, you know, arrive at the diagnosis. I don't feel comfortable to start, you know, we are live, right? To start showing his whole body with their private part and all of that is total disrespect to them, and we don't want to do that. It is against our ethics. But if there's anyone here who is interested in seeing the bite, whatsoever part of that body, all right? We just signed a little note, a confidence agreement that you're not going to publish it. I won't even allow you to. You can follow me, I will show it to you. Finish with that, Mike. All right, you talk about the denial of the approval. The minister has answered to that. Then someone talk about Melvin being on natural or unnatural cause. Now, when we did this autopsy report, you realize that many of you here are not medical persons. The minister is here, you know, she's a fellow of the West Africa. She knows a lot. If she was the only one in the audience, the things I said will be at a higher level. But we'll try to break it down so that everybody can understand. But at the same time, we don't want to break it down to the point that the substance, the message we are trying to convey will be lost. So we are kind of halfway in between. So when we code diseases, there's something we call the International Classification of Disease. So we code diseases, all right? So firstly, you divide diseases into natural and unnatural. So a natural event is something that happens as a result of natural things, like in the case of Princess, mycobacterial tuberculosis is with us. About 90% of us here in this place have been exposed to TB before. 90%. Some of us have latent TB. All right, we do. So it's part of nature. So if someone died from malaria, it's because malaria is part of the nature, it becomes a natural cause. But if someone falls down, if someone dies from accident, if someone is shot, all right,